Hello and welcome back to my craft room. At last, I've finished all my tidying and it is time to start a project I have been so looking forward to for ages. If you've been a viewer for some time or if you're a member of the Arty-farty Annie group on Facebook, you will know my good friend Maggie Morris very well. Her work is an absolute joy to behold and a real inspiration to so many of us. I'm very lucky to have a few pieces of Maggie's work that she sent me. It must be like 2 or 3 years ago now, and when I didn't really know her, I hadn't properly connected with her, she just contacted me out of the blue and asked if I would like some of her hand stitched pieces. So I said, yes please, because I always love to see it. It's always to get something that somebody's hand stitched, it's just always amazing. And I was utterly blown away by the pieces she sent me. I will link to that original video where I opened that package and you can just see. I watched it again myself the other day and you could just see how gobsmacked I was. And I got a lot of views on that video, and what a lot of people told me was that they watched it and then they were like, wow, and watched it all again. And so I think that's why I got so many views. Anyway, now people often ask, so I'll answer this now before I forget. No, Maggie doesn't have a YouTube video herself and isn't likely to be starting one. And she doesn't blog or anything like that, but she does share her work quite a lot in our Facebook group and in some other different Facebook groups that she belongs to. I don't know which ones, but I'm gonna take you to our Facebook group in a minute and just type in Maggie Morris in the search thing. You can do that and look up what someone's posted, and if you want to have a look at more of her work, that might be a way to quickly find some. But I'll show you a quick look in a minute. I'll give a quick look at these pieces that I've got, and I will link to that original video as well. I've also got some fabrics that Maggie kindly gave me, and what I want to do is make a couple of projects, which I'll explain as I go along. So let's go to the desk first and have a look at what I've got to play. I've just been so itching to start this project. So here, in no particular order, I've just put everything in this tray that I've gathered up. These are the fabrics that Maggie has given me. She doesn't actually enjoy stitching into batik fabrics herself. She finds it a bit hard work to stitch into. I don't mind stitching into batik. I'm fine with it, but I do use huge, great, honking great needles, so maybe that's why. But there's lots of other fabrics here. I'll go through those in a minute, because one of the ideas that I've got is to I won't need all of this for the project I've got in mind. What I will do is make up a couple of packs out of them, which I can do as giveaways at our next live stream. Here are some of Maggie's pieces. These are amongst the pieces that she sent me in that first little parcel where I was so blown away. What I want to do is kind of emulate and be inspired by Maggie. Maybe put my own spin on it a little bit, a bit of my own personality into it, but very much look at the colours and techniques and materials that Maggie uses to try and get something like this gorgeous feast of colour and texture that Maggie creates. So those are some little squares just done on batting. These are done on felt. I absolutely love them. Look at these. It's the way she combines patterns and colours and textures. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to take too long going through these because I do look at them carefully in that other video, and I don't want this to get too long. This one's a bit different, and I think one of the things that Maggie does is she belongs to this Facebook group that has a theme every month and stuff, and sometimes she's like given a colour theme or whatever, and I wonder if that's where this piece came from, if she was following a prompt and had a theme to use red, black and white or something, because this is quite unusual. It's not her normal kind of colour palette. Absolutely beautiful though, and the more you look, the more you see. So all of these spirals, that's not just in the, they're all stitched into. They're stitching on. She's picked up the pattern here and done these little cross stitches. She stitched these hearts on, the stitching down the leaves. All of her stitching is in red on this one. And you can see how this is one of the things that Maggie does all the time that I really love to do as well, is to stitch into the pattern that's there in the fabric she's working on. There's little French knots in the centre of these little kind of flower motifs. Put this to one side for 1 minute. These are scrolls that Maggie did. These two came with that first batch that she sent me. Absolutely stunning. Look at this. So one of the things I want to do is a scroll inspired by the way Maggie does hers. This is what I'm hoping to emulate. So I'm looking at the different elements of this that make it so Maggie-licious. What gives it that Maggie magic? So what she tends to do with these, and she has shown this on Facebook, I'll try and find it in a minute, is she'll patch pieces of just small scraps, you can see quite small scraps of fabric on to her, whatever she's using for her backing. Some will be patterned, some will be plain. She really likes patterned fabric to work into, and then she stitches. So with this one, it's like a relatively plain fabric. She's just added a lot of seed stitching in a contrast colour, and with these, she's stitched into the pattern that's printed on the fabric. I know that she has said that she tries to use a colour that will show against the background. But other than that, she doesn't really have a plan with these. She just puts the pieces on and then just kind of takes her thread for a walk, really, and tries all kinds of. This is a stitch that I asked her how she did it, and she let me know how she did it. You basically have 2 lines of straight stitch, I believe, and then you weave another thread in and out, and you get this lovely kind of fat chain effect. Love it. So she plays with a lot of different stitches. You'll see that she doesn't use stranded cotton these days. Apparently she uses all perlé thread. Perlé kind of, mostly I would say it's perlé number 8, but some of it's that, what's that fatter? Is it number 5, the fatter one? Mostly it looks like perlé number 8, and these luscious bright colours. These colours are very typical of kind of colours that you see Maggie using, so that's why I say this one perhaps was for a specific prompt, because it's not really her usual thing. Let's have another look. This scroll has been done in a different way, and I did ask Maggie at the time about how this was done, and she did this, but she started off by stenciling. So she used stencils to create these patterns onto her. She's just got a plain calico backing there and stitched into them, which I thought was an ingenious idea as well. And look what she's done with that, just with such a simple start. It's just an explosion of colour and texture, isn't it? I'm going to be absolutely thrilled to bits if I can anything like emulate Maggie's style, but I just think there's a spark that you can't, she's got a flair that I feel like you can't learn, but I'm going to do my best. So that's another way. So that's 2 different ways really that she's done the scrolls there. And then when I met up with Maggie in person last year down in Cornwall, one of the things she brought these fabrics and these other pieces, which I'll tell you about in a minute, and she brought me this, which especially for me, she made it specially for me. I love that little button. Oops, I got it wrong there. Handmade by Maggie. And this is another scroll. Now at the time I'd been doing my Millefiori project, which I will be coming back to very soon. I keep saying that too. I took on too many things all at once, so I've scheduled myself now. So this was kind of inspired by the Millefiori project, which involved layering lots of circles and adding stitching and things, and Maggie did it the Maggie way. It's just she made it so distinctively Maggie. Look at this. Yum. It's very I can see how it came from the same inspiration point, but it's very, very different from what I was doing. It's just it is very distinctively Maggie, and I absolutely love it. Every time I look at it, my goose pimples are coming out like mad. Each of these little circles, she's just absolutely covered with stitching. Look at all the stitching, all the different types of stitches she's played with. It's mostly I would say number 8 perlé thread there, but some of it looks thicker. These look thicker. And she's even filled in all the background with more stitching, masses and masses of this straight stitching to cover all of that background and add even more texture. Look at all the... I think she found, she actually looked out a lot of fabrics that had kind of circular motifs in them, if I remember right, because she did a big piece as well of her own, like a, you know, kind of, well, probably about this size, probably the size of this basket actually. It looked absolutely stunning framed on the wall. And she showed, hopefully that will come up when I do the search in a minute. She showed all the circular motifs she'd managed to find, and I think she must have done a similar approach to make this scroll. I'm just so thrilled to bits with it, because it's so beautiful anyway, because Maggie made it, because I just love everything about it, but extra thrilled because it was kind of inspired by a project that I was doing on YouTube as well. That just was a real extra little bonus for me. I'm not going to bother tying that up properly because I need to refer to it again in a minute. So that's the scrolls. Also, oh no, there's another one. So while we were in Cornwall, she also gave me some extras, things that she said if I liked, I was welcome to either keep or use for giveaways. So I have already parted with some of them. Some of them have gone. Some more I'm just sort of, I will be letting go of gradually. So once all these couple of projects are done, as part of a kind of celebration at the end of it, I'm going to give some more of these away. So this is another scroll, and this one is different again because this time it looks to me like it's been patched together in the same way as this one, but this looks like mostly patterned fabrics. These look plain, and the fabric itself is quite textured. If you look closely, you can see this kind of textured fabric underneath. And I know she experiments with all sorts. Recently she was saying she's been experimenting with patching together ribbon. And she's got some Cantha stitched pieces that she's playing with as well. So yeah, this looks like plain fabric but very textured fabric, and she's stitched on top of that. Just look. So I'm going to have all these pieces in front of me to kind of inspire me as I go along. Just so many ideas. I love how this one just allows that fabric, that pink fabric, to peek through. This almost looks like a trim or something along there, doesn't it? But yeah, well, I don't need to tell you how stunning this is, do I? It's art. It's real art. It's textile art. Got to remember the ones that were originally given to me and the ones this one was intended to be possibly a giveaway. So I'm going to make myself give that one away at the end. Some others. I've already done 2 or 3. I had some little pieces like this which I turned into a needle book. They do make very, very sweet, very lovely little needle books. Look at the work. Look at this effect here. I wish you could feel it. So glad I got a better camera these days. You can see how much yummy texture and cutted layering. She's got patterns underneath, and she adds to the pattern with fabric and then throws another layer of pattern over the top with more thread. And just it's almost become 3-dimensional, this one. So that's that one. This one is different again because it's got some Suffolk puffs in there. It's like a little sampler piece almost, this, isn't it? I love how she's appliqued these flowers, which must have been cut from one of the, it looks a bit like one of the kind of fancy pieces you get in some of the Bazaar scrap packs. It's you know, it's that kind of Indian fabric look that it has, and it looks so beautiful against this background. Look at that, look at this ring. Love that idea. And a little snippet of this. I've got some of this stuff, this netty stuff. I've never thought of using it like that. Look at the effect of that. The Suffolk puff filled with the centre's been filled with French knots, and then all these gathers and pleats around the outside. She's filled with these pistol stitches. It's just stunning, isn't it? There's more of that stuff, that netty stuff that I'm talking about. It comes in a roll, like with a wide, like a ribbon roll, but it was netty stuff. Absolutely stunning. Now this is very much a departure for Maggie, and I think she did actually mention that she didn't really enjoy doing this because she just loves her colour so much, and this was for a prompt that was using neutrals or something. And so she might not have enjoyed it working with it so much, but look at it in detail. What she's done, I think, is because she's not got colour to play with, so she's just heaped it, piled on the texture, and she's used all different shades of kind of creamy neutrals, layered so much texture onto it. These clusters of French knots, it almost gives the effect of like that kind of boucle fabric. They're just so thickly clustered together, down here as well. Just beautiful. And the way she stitched this in and layered it with other things, it's like this, all of this has become part of the piece. It's all blended in together. I love that. This is all thickly stitched. French knots are added into this lace. Everywhere you can find a little nook or cranny. Look at this little extra shape stitched on here. All down here. The more you look, the more you see with this little tatted piece there. Look at that. No nook or cranny has gone unstitched there. It's absolutely stunning piece. I love it. I've got some of this somewhere too, but not in the pink. I think I've got it in a brown or something. This is some of this kind of African-y looking print. Look at all these. Running out of words. It's such an eclectic mixture of fabrics. She's just put them all down. I think from what she says, she doesn't give it an awful lot of thought. She just loves her bright colours. And you can see she's used all kinds of wonky shapes and stuff. Any kind of scraps will work here. And then she's just picked a thread that will show nicely against the background and just started stitching. And it's like you wouldn't kind of plan to put those fabrics and those colours together particularly. But the whole thing just works. I love this favourite things little piece here. Giant French knots. If I tried to make a French knot that fat, I'm sure I'd get in a tangle, but I might have to try it. What I've never asked her is how long does it take to do this piece? That would be like a week for me, I think. These are two of the pieces that came in that first package, and this, until my recent reshuffle in here, this was sitting on my desk on top of my, I've got this circular basket thing, and it fitted on there so perfectly that I put it on there, and because it was on my desk, I looked at it every day and enjoyed it. But I could see now, holding it next to this other piece, it has begun to fade a little bit. And I'm all for having things out where you can enjoy them, but I don't want this to be ruined. So I think this is going to be going away with my treasures for the time being. And, it'll be out for inspiration during this project. Because I don't want it to fade anymore. And I will just take it out every so often and enjoy it. We'll have a closer look at some of the techniques and things like that as I'm working through the projects. I can't tell you how much I love that. I think if I had to pick one single favourite piece, I think the scroll, actually, that Millefiori scroll, and this, I just think it's just stunning. I love everything about it. And this is using some of the batik fabrics that Maggie doesn't like stitching into. She doesn't enjoy. She says she finds them a bit closely woven or something, a bit harder to get the needle through. I love them all. I couldn't really pick a favourite. So I'm going to put that basket out the way in a minute. So the one piece that I want to do for this Inspired by Maggie project is a scroll, and the other piece I want to do is going to be inspired by one of these. Look at this. Now you are not going to be able to fully appreciate these because you're not seeing it in person, but every inch of these is covered with stitching. Now Maggie very kindly also gave me, so this is what she gave me, these when we met up down in Cornwall, and she very kindly also gave me a piece of this fabric that she's used. So this will give me the opportunity to really learn by copying almost. I will put my own self into it a bit, but I very much want to just learn from Maggie's techniques, and it will just be very, very relaxing to just stitch into this. I've got myself a collection of threads ready and just try to emulate what Maggie has created here. So I will look at these in more detail as we work through the project, but just to give you a little bit of a taster, can you see that every inch of this, she's backed it with some wadding. Every inch has been covered with stitching, blanket stitch all around here, blanket stitch, 2 layers of blanket stitch, back stitch, lots of straight stitching. Look at all the French knots here in all the different colours. That feels amazing. I wish I had feely vision for you, because the texture and depth of this work is, it's showing as well as possible on the camera, but it's not the same seeing it in real life. Look at this, I love this onion thing. Whatever it is it an onion, is it a fig? Whatever it is, I just love it. Absolutely stunning. And to have a quick better look at this piece, obviously very similar. It's the same fabric. The fabric itself is absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I think at the end of this, is I'll keep one of these pieces. What Maggie said was you're free to keep them yourself or give them away or whatever. And the same with the fabrics that she gave me. So the other fabric she gave me was this one, which I could like cut into pieces and share the love, and use some of it myself and pass some of it on. It's stunning. It's got a lot of work in it already, some stitching and kind of it's not really shisha work. It kind of gives that effect because it's got the mirrored stuff in there, but definitely lots and lots of scope for more stitching into it. So what I'm envisaging is at least 2 projects, the scroll and this large piece I'll do, and then as a kind of celebration, once that's all done, it probably won't be the next live because the next live is due in just over a week, so it'll be the following live actually. I will give away one of these large pieces, one of the scrolls, and one of the smaller pieces that can be like a needle book or something. So we'll have a real celebration, and I'll make up. I reckon I can get 4 packs easily 4 packs, enough to make Maggie inspired pieces out of these. I'll divide them into 4 and I keep a quarter myself and do 3 packs as giveaways. So it'll be a real I know I have said, and we come back up here now and say this, God, I've been talking too long already. I know I have said I'm stopping the giveaways, but it's kind of stopping the regular giveaways, but I'll still be doing occasional giveaways that are related to projects that I'm working on. So that's kind of the gist of what I've got in mind. You can see why I'm so excited, can't you? I want to give you a quick look at the Facebook group. You'll find links if you don't belong to our Facebook group already. Maggie isn't in Discord, but if you're in our Facebook group, I've lost my thread now. What was I talking about? Yeah, if you're not already in our Facebook group and you want to join, look for my link tree in the description box, and it's in there. Right, so I'm going to take you to the Facebook group now. So here we go. Here's the Arty-farty Annie group on Facebook. You'll see this picture at the top changes every week. I pick a different member's project and photo to feature in the group banner, so it won't always look the same, but it should say Arty-farty Annie group at the top. And you can go into featured here, click on featured. I know it'll be different on a phone, and that will give you some of the useful posts and things that you might want to refer to. Earlier on in a different video I was talking about going to events. If you click on events here at the moment, you can see the Bazaar stroke slow stitching corner. Details will be going on there as we come towards mid-August, when at the date of the event. And Maggie and her friend Sue, all being well, will be coming along to join us at the slow stitching corner at the Bazaar event in August. It would be really helpful if you're coming along and you want to be joining in with the slow stitching event. It would be really helpful if you could just go into this event and click on it to say you're going, so that we can have some idea of numbers, so we can make sure that we've got enough supplies for everybody and what have you. And maybe plan if we're going to need to ask people to take turns or whatever, or if there's going to be room for us all to sort of sit there all weekend if we would like to. So here we go. Yeah, you can see here Maggie Morris has ticked that she's going, and Jan Chalmers has ticked maybe. So anyway, I'm distracting myself. Now up here you can see this magnifying glass here. If you didn't know this, you might find this useful. If you think, oh, I know so and so posted a picture of whatever and I can't find it, because Facebook just is a bit random sometimes how it shows you something and then hides it forever. You can see a little window comes up and you can type into that. So if I type Maggie Morris. Now some of this will be people posting things they received from Maggie Morris, so Maggie did make some hearts. Some of them will just be mentioning Maggie, so you may have to scroll down a bit, but here we go. So here's one where Maggie is telling us that she's done this with silk sari ribbons. So she's patched together pieces of silk sari ribbons onto a backing piece and then stitched into it. This is one that Maggie posted because she'd been sent some lovely colourful patterned fabric from Shirley over in the States, and she was just showing how much fun she'd had with it, and look at that. That is absolutely stunning. The fabric is beautiful. You can see the fabric's beautiful, but what Maggie's done with it is just wow. String squares. Maggie did a lovely I loved what she did with when I was doing the scrappy string quilt project. I loved what Maggie did with it. It was stunning, absolutely stunning. You know, when you come up with that thing where you come up with a project and then someone else takes it and runs with it and does a way better job of it than you did yourself. It was that. So these are all hearts that Maggie has sent out. This is Maggie showing her favourite thread to use, Wonderful Perlé Cotton, number 8, and those are very much Maggie colours, very much so. That was me receiving my heart from Maggie for the arty-farty hearty swap. There's Sue's. Now here's a post I did when I first received this. So now I can tell you exactly when I received this. It was in July 2023, and there's these pictures of all these beautiful pieces. Now there's a reason why these weren't in what I showed you just now, because I've added them to one of my fabric books with the swap squares. But aren't they gorgeous? Here's one where Maggie's saying she stitched several 3-inch squares together, added a few more stitches to cover the joins and then turn them into a scroll. It's a good idea. This was one I was hoping to come across. So this is where Maggie has, though she's saying that lots of people have been asking about her thought process when starting a project. So she's saying, I start with either a narrow strip of calico or cotton batting. Then I start to lay small pieces of scrap fabric down before adding a few tacking stitches. And then when I'm happy with the layout, I start to add my embroidery stitches. Usually simple ones. I don't really have a plan, except I try to use a contrasting thread which will show up against the fabric. I like following a line or pattern which is already on the fabric, and I take it from there. That is what she starts with. That's really useful to see that. This is interesting. So she's saying here she has about 50 samples from 20 years ago and wants to do something with them. They're various sizes and thickness, so ideas would be appreciated as to how to incorporate them into something. Cutting a small square or circle from each is something I'm thinking about. It'd be quite hard to do. Yeah, so look at all these. You can see how her style has very much evolved over the years and has now kind of consolidated into a very distinctive style that I would recognise anywhere as being Maggie's. But I love some of these other things she's tried as well. I can see some sort of negative applique there, I think. All these different kind of fabric manipulation techniques. There's some weaving going on there. All kinds of lovely techniques. Yeah, I'd love to have a look at them in person. So I think that is more than long enough to go on. I'm going to have to cut some of that out to give you a flavour of what I'm aiming at in this project. I would say that if you would like to join in with this and be inspired by our Maggie yourself, it would be very easy. You don't need a lot to get started if you're into slow stitching and already have everything you need. I'm going to stop recording now and dig out a strip of calico and some thin cotton wadding that I will use as my backing, and then I'm going to narrow it. I've got, you only really need that you can see from what I've shown you, the tiniest scraps will do. And I have got a bag. Let me just show you that. My beautiful snoppy bag. So this bag is all bigger pieces, smaller pieces, all kinds of things in here. You could definitely, whatever, even quite much tinier scraps than this that you've got. I would say if you want to join in and do something that's kind of with that, got that Maggie Magic, I would say nice bright colours, but really small scraps would do. Other than that, you only need the strip of plain calico to start as your backing to start with. I'm going to put some really thin wadding on the back as well. I prefer the feel of that. And then to get that Maggie style, I think it needs to be perlé thread. But if you haven't got perlé thread, it can be quite expensive to get hold of. Although I would say have a look on Amazon and have a look at some of the cheaper makes. The Wonderfill is lovely, but you don't have to have that. You could, you can get cheaper brands on Amazon, or you go to Team or whatever. But yeah, I think to get that look, it needs to be that number 8 perlé thread. If you really don't want to get hold of any of that, you could use stranded cotton, but I would say you need to use at least like 4 strands to get that texture. But she doesn't do anything complicated. Well, she does use beading and stuff, but mainly she doesn't use beads and things. It's quite simple, and it's quite simple stitches. So I think we can all have a go at this. And what I will do is, when I'm ready to start, I'm going to put all of the scrolls out in front of me. Let me go back to here again. I'll put all of the scrolls out in front of me. I'm going to do the scroll first because I feel like that's the smaller thing to start with. In some ways, this bigger piece, because it's already there, I haven't even got to patch anything together. In some ways that would be simpler, but it's big, it's going to take longer. So yeah, I will put all of the scrolls that I have of Maggie's in front of me. I'm not going to try and put all of the samples that I've got in front of me all of the time. I think these will be enough. And I'm only going to, I could use that big bag of scraps, but I think what I'm going to do is stick to to narrow it down a bit and stop me getting paralysed with choice. I'm going to stick to just the fabrics that Maggie gave me. I would say any bright colour fabrics you've got would fit the bill. Maggie herself, as I mentioned, doesn't really like using batik. I love batik fabric. She loves them too. She said she can never resist buying them, just doesn't enjoy stitching with them. But I might throw some of these in. But the other fabrics that she's given me are very much kind of hot pinks and lovely zesty greens, and I love those two things together. So I am going to stick with these fabrics and create my scroll. And as I mentioned, I'm going to then put together at least, I think I'll get at least 3 packs out of this, so we can share the love far and wide. And I'll just make them quite little packs. I'll go in little boxes so that I don't mind sending them internationally as well. The rest of this video will be me starting to lay out the scroll, and then I'll come back again to start stitching into it. I think that's the best thing. Right, I've torn myself a strip of just plain sort of calico, sort of medium weight calico. This is about 50 centimetres long by 7 centimetres wide. And then I've cut a piece of thin batting, just a leftover end that I had, and that is 5 centimetres wide. Actually no, this is about 50 centimetres long, hang on, and this is about 52, 54. So basically what I'm doing is allowing for about a 1 centimetre turning all around on the calico. It's a bit more either end, but this is just the width of the piece as it came, really. Just making use of what I've got. The exact width and length obviously isn't really going to matter. So now I'm going to start just cutting or tearing off little pieces and tacking them onto my strip. Cut a little bit wonky, don't matter. I might just I'll see how I go, but I think I'm going to put the batik pieces to one side for now and try just using these prints. So remembering the photo that Maggie shared of how she patched the pieces on, I love this combination of, like I said before, these kind of different shades of pink and this zingy green next to the pink is going to be really lovely. So I'm just going to take small pieces as they come. Oh, look at this lovely with the tree. And because of course Maggie likes stitching into the pattern that's in the fabric, you can see how all of these fabrics lend themselves really well to that. And where there's anything that's a bit more plain, I can just cover it with seed stitching or all the other kinds of stitching that Maggie's used here on these plain pieces, like this kind of thing. Oh, there's just endless possibilities. Okay, but one step at a time, let's just start patching some of these pieces. I'm going to put a bit of this pattern here. doesn't need to be too big actually, so I'm going to make it a little bit easier on myself and just use a glue stick to hold things roughly in place while I tack them. It's a little dab. So I've torn that strip off. What I might do is just cut this in a couple more places and spread it around my scroll. I'm not going to kind of arrange the whole thing before I start gluing, because for a start I could pull this up if I needed to, but also I'm just not going to. I think Maggie said she doesn't overthink it. So many cute possibilities for stitching into with this. Right, let's have a bit of one of the greens this time. That was quite busy, so let's go for a slightly plainer option this time. I love the little circles in this. So it's very relaxing, just playing with colours and shapes. Put that down there. Of course, if I had oddly shaped pieces as well, like with bits of curves and tattered edges and stuff, that would be fine as well. If I was pulling out of my bag of scraps I showed earlier, there would be all kinds of shapes and sizes coming up. That's quite nice. And where I've overlapped these, or where I've got that circle there, I can always carry the circle on. Oh, I can make the circle continue over that green if I want to. I think I need my orts jar open. Put all these ends in. Okay, let's go back to another pink now. Another one from the pink pile. Such beautiful fabrics these. So one thing I've got to remember is not to just make it all straight patches, because if you look at Maggie's examples, there's lots of different shapes and sizes here. Some curves and triangles and things. And yes, some of that I can do with the stitching, but some of it I need to give myself different kind of shapes to work on. Okay, another green. Let's have a green with a bit more pattern on it this time. Oh, I love this one. I love this one too. I feel like let's have a strip right across this time. Okay, I think we're back to pink pile. Oh, here's something completely different. This is so well thought through. The variation of types of pattern, shapes, scale of pattern, shades of the pink and shades of the green. It's just, yeah, it's a lovely little, this would be really nice little pack to make up as well. Okay, I think this time I'm gonna tear off quite a fat strip, and then I'm just going to cut a sort of more of an irregular shape from it, like that. Just give me something a bit different to play with. I'm trying to be mindful of what Maggie said about sort of overthinking this initial placement of the shapes. Okay, back to green. What should we do now? Oh, so many, so many, so many. Looks different again, isn't it? Oh, look, look, look. Oh, this is a bit different. This has got some sort of purplish blue in it. Be quite interesting to give, like, you know, 4 different people a similar pack of these, a mixture of these fabrics, and see how similar and how different the results would be. All being inspired by Maggie. There, shall I go there? What do we think? It's quite a big one, but I've got a difference here in this part of the pattern, this part of the pattern, so I think it can be quite a big piece. Works in my mind. There's some of them, I keep looking back to Maggie's pieces, some of them are a little bit larger. I want more greeny up here, so let's put a little bit of this up here as well. Can't decide where I want that to go. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, I think that brings us back to pink. Oh, look at this one. Bringing all the colours together, isn't it? What I might do is cut this off like that. Then I can put this little triangle somewhere else. So I already feel like, although I'm using fabrics that Maggie has picked out and I'm kind of being mindful of how she starts her process, I still feel like this is looking me-ish. It has got, I'm putting my own spin on it a bit. It's not completely slavishly following what Maggie would do, because it's kind of got something about me in it as well, which is good. So we're kind of halfway there now. I'm back to green again, aren't I now? Let's go for this slightly darker one with the crosses. I need a bit more of the limey green over here, so I'm going to go for a bit of this. You see, I think this is, maybe it's one of the reasons why this is looking a little bit different and feeling a bit more me, is that I'm being a bit more controlling, maybe. I don't know. I'm looking at the whole thing and thinking, I've got lime over there, I've got lime in this bit, I want lime here. I don't know if that's overthinking it a bit, but hey ho. Yeah, like that, or that. that's okay. Can't wait to start stitching on this. Okay, and we're back to pink again. It'd be quite nice to have a bit of this. Can you see this fabric's got this lovely tree in it? Let's have a bit of that tree showing. I just think that's going to be lovely to stitch. Let's cut quite a large piece of that here. Where should we put it? Maybe that needs to move a bit. Yeah. I'm just going to carry, I think I'm probably about halfway through here. I'm going to carry on covering the rest of this strip with little scraps of fabric, try and bring in a little piece of each of these beautiful fabrics that Maggie's picked out, and I'll come back and show you how that's looking, and then I'll probably finish the video there, and in the next video we'll start stitching. It's quite nice to put this video out first, give other people a chance to have a go and put something like this together, and then we'll stitch together in the next, in the next one. Okay, right, back in a mo. Here we go. I need to pull the camera out a little bit. There it is, end to end. That's all my pieces on and ready to start stitching into. I'll leave those 3 pins in just to keep the layers attached together, and I think what I'll do tonight is I'll just put some tacking stitches just to hold all of this together. Oh look, I've just realised I've missed a space. Oh, missed a spot. There is just masses of fabric here for doing this. I'm going to be able to make up some really nice little kits. I think that will do. I think the rest of it will sort itself out in the stitching. In the next video I'll come back and we'll start doing the really fun part of the decorative stitching, which is what I've been so looking forward to. I don't know if I've really made, I don't know how good a start I've made. I feel like I've maybe made too many of my shapes kind of straight edged, and I should have had some curved shapes, but I love how it looks, and you know, it's going to be, as well as being influenced by Maggie, it's also going to be me. So yeah. Yeah, I think I'm really happy with that start. So yeah, if you want to join in with me, catch me up to this point, and next time we'll start the fun part. And if you'd like to watch this space, if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning a little pack of these fabrics, I could put a little pack of fabrics together that I'd be very happy to send internationally. So I think, yeah, we'll do a few of those, and that'll be really fun to see what different people do with the same pack as well. Yeah, very excited about this. Thank you very much for joining me today. You can see how hot and sweaty I am in here. It's really hot still. State of it. So that's it for me for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you to my dear friend Maggie for all the inspiration. I'm so excited to meet up with Maggie again at the August event. It's just going to be fab. Any questions at all, anything I haven't quite covered? You know, it's a funny thing, but when you sort of don't film for a week, you forget how to do it. You get out the habit of it. So yeah, if I've missed anything out or said anything confusing, just give me a shout in the comments and I'll be happy to answer any questions. And meanwhile, have a lovely rest of your weeks, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.